back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, Dan Castle is back. Dan, how you doing? Welcome back.
Hey man, it's been a long time. Thank you so much. Really
Thank you for making the time.
Up.
It has been a long time. It's been like 6 months or so, I believe, since the last video that we did. And that was like out of the blue. It was DPA who connected us. Shout out to Wyatt. Defense Politics.
Yeah, it was on the spot. It was on the spot, like unprompted.
Basically, yeah. Again, I want to shout out to all the subscribers, all the Patreons, and everybody else, and apologize for my voice in advance. Here, I'm taking a lozenge just for you guys. And as usual, if I'm muted, I'm coughing off screen. Dan, for those who might not know, has a meme that he made today. Taliban Hunter, class of 2011. Why don't you tell us, actually? What did you do exactly in Afghanistan? Give us a short refresher while I play some video in the background with some pictures.
Yeah, so my job was a combat engineer. I basically just swept for IEDs and basic infantryman work. But that's pretty much it. My deployment to Afghanistan was just me with my metal detector and playing pew-pew against the Taliban. And I must also say that I'm sunburned because I was out all day fishing today.
Oh yeah, we've got some pictures of some of the catches that you've made earlier. So yeah, this is you in Afghanistan a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you decided to go to Russia. And in Russia, you're actually near Lake Baikal. Yeah, by the way, Dan has a YouTube channel, for those who don't know. Wild Siberia.
Wild Siberia, guys.
We'll leave a link in the description.
I started YouTube because the place where I ended up was very interesting, and I basically make videos, living in Russia here in Slyudanka. I make videos about nature. I make videos about tips of how to come to Russia, all sorts of stuff. But I try to connect with the community. There's a lot of YouTubers inside of Russia who are from other places, and Russians too. So right now, while the world is trying to block out Russia, it's a really good time to bring light into Russia and show how it really is. And that's pretty much now my new focus, is trying to show the reality of Russia, because not a lot of people are in here,
Yeah. I've watched your work recently. You met up with some other YouTubers. Hold on, let's get this fish picture out of the way. This is a nice catch. We want to tell us where this is?
Yeah, that is about 300 meters away. This lake here behind me feeds into Lake Baikal. So it's like feeding into Baikal. And this is a pretty large pike. It's like 3 kilos. And I actually gave it away to a babushka so she can eat it. She asked for fish meat, and I went fishing that morning, hooked on this giant. It's pretty impressive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we have any more pictures here, or do we have video? No, we've got video next. Where is my little video? One-man show, everybody. Check out the Patreon. Thank you to the Patreons. Fish video. There we go.
Yeah, I had to take a little quickie because this type of fish you don't find in a lake this small. This is actually a small lake compared to where pike can actually grow very, very large. And like I said, this is the biggest fish of my life so far while I've been living here. And by the way, you are a one-man show, and it's freaking awesome, guys. The Working Brothers always putting in that work.
I do what I can. I had a bunch of real-life obligations recently, and now this little bug that's got my voice cracking. But we're pushing through. That's what we got to do. Kirov and Lars. You sent me these photos as well. Lars, that's Survival Russia.
Survival Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically the guy that put me on. Like, he's basically why I started my channel. Like, he inspired me. The Gorka suit that I have, the knife that I have, the freaking fire rod that I use for my videos. Basically, a lot of the stuff you see on my body there, it's Lars has given it to me. That Gorka suit, not that pack, but we went out on a mission that day. That was winter. I spent a lot of time with Lars, just working with him and his tank. He taught me all these things to like run mechanics or maintenance on his vehicle here. Really, really cool guy. Shout out to him. He's really, really cool, man.
Yeah, I watched some of his videos even before I became the working brother, and then I saw that you went to see him. If you get a chance, and if maybe Lars watches this by some miracle, Lars, hit me up. You're welcome on anytime. It would be awesome. I want to talk about that mud in your last video because he like went on some night trip, and there's like a 1.5 minute maybe like nighttime footage of him and some other people digging out this Jeep, like mud that's like, like 1.5 meters of like just
It's
death.
treacherous, man. The road that he uses to get out of his house and like do recordings, like I've been with him out there. That is no joke. You have to be a really good operator to move your machine through those roads. I'm not lying. Like I've sunk just by walking about, I don't know, like a meter in, just
Yeah,
sinking in,
like
and you can
like
imagine
deeper
the
than the
weight of
knee, deeper than the knee, basically.
oh,
Yeah.
deeper than the knee, and like the when it snows, the snow goes all the way up to your freaking jewels. So all that water goes into the ground, and it's really, really muddy all year. But yeah, like hopefully he does watch this, but he's pretty busy right now building a 12-sided home. The guy's a
Oh
legend.
yeah, I think I saw that. I think I saw that in some of his older videos. He was talking about it. Um,
Yeah.
Dan, one of the other things you sent along that you wanted to discuss today. Hold on, let me just open this here. Um, you did a video. Oh, actually, wait, we've got a little clip of you with Lars. Let's play that. Let's play
Yeah.
that, and let's do it full screen. TV
This is
only.
awesome.
Absolutely anywhere.
So this is Lars'
It's
tank.
almost time to keep going.
Yeah, this is like an amphibious vehicle, basically. There's the truck. It gets cool. And Lars is operating this machine really, really well, man. Like he drives that thing like it's a freaking motorbike. He can put that thing anywhere. It's really impressive.
I'm sure considering he uses it as more or less his primary mode of transportation around there, like
This ended up being one of the more bumpier parts of the road. As you
I
can
mean,
see,
look
we're
at
jumping
this,
up and
dude.
down, and there's actually
We're
birch
moving.
on the ground. The road
what
was made up
what'd you say?
I'm just letting you know that like he's driving this through a road that's made of birch trees, so it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty it's pretty uneven. So as you're watching him operate, he has to look what part of the road he's gonna drive on the fly. This machine is really maneuverable with the right operator.
So we've
Yeah.
slowed down significantly because the road is
And
run
that's your
around
missus
made
and
of
his
birch. It is a birch
His
his
daughter back there.
right.
I'll turn the
Yeah.
camera around and you can see it.
That's a interesting family expedition.
There's
Yeah.
a
We
line
called it the
of wood
special
on the
camping
ground
operation. It was amazing.
that were driven over.
I can't say enough
And
good
it
things
goes
about
for
him, man.
about
Like the guy has
maybe
taught me
1
so
or 2
much.
kilometers.
And this
Yeah.
was when?
So we must take our
What
time,
month
folks.
was this
This
trip
is
in?
in May. This is in May.
In
He's got
May,
like
huh?
a May camping
It's
trip.
just,
Yeah.
it's amazing, guys. I wish you guys could see
Man,
it in person. There's the birch
I get
on the
goosebumps
edge there.
because I remember we spent a few days out
Doing a
there,
quick
and it was
Mm-hmm.
clip
basically like these guys are also engineers. They're like they served in the Russian military as engineers themselves. And Lars is also an engineer for the Danish military. So like we were all combat engineers. It's just the weirdest coincidence. Yeah.
Well, if there were any mines, I'm sure you guys would have cleared them, right?
I mean, if they gave us 5 metal detectors, we would clear the whole forest for fun.
I think even with pikes, you could have sorted it out the old school way. I'm just being
Yeah,
I'm
not
just
about
being a retard. Like, excuse me, but like I have to pretend this is a comedy show. The subscribers demand it, and so does the YouTube censorship.
That's right.
So this
I
is
remember now.
this is the worst comedy show on YouTube, man. Welcome back. So the other thing we've got here is no, that's the video of you. This is Real Reporter. So you visited with Real Reporter. This is on your channel.
Yeah,
And
so just to give you guys a summary about this, like this is a
mhm.
real reporter. He's a reporter out of Moscow, and he produces really good videos about like up to date problems in the world, and he also does traveling stuff. And he came from Moscow to record my life here in Srilanka, and that video, the original video, went viral. It's almost like at 2 million views. It propelled my existence in Russia because I was contacted by so many people. I've been like stopped in the streets of Irkutsk for pictures, and in my local hometown, everybody watched it on television. So like this guy's put me on really good. Yeah.
All right. It's good you had something to say. I had time to clear my throat.
Nice.
What was I going to say? Yeah, Real Reporter. Also, in case he happens to watch this, anytime you want to come on this really bad comedy show and talk about the hilarity of real life, drop me a line. His reports are excellent. His production is high quality, and he takes the time to piece together like a story with like effects and everything. So yeah, props to the Real Reporter for being a real reporter. Hey.
Yeah.
um.
Absolute class.
So you were on with him to talk about many things, including cluster mines. Should I
Yeah.
play maybe
This was
that segment and then get your comment on it?
let me, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, this is yeah.
And I go at it and I start losing fingers. Who's gonna lose? These countries are essentially fighting to the end. They've made it very clear. And if I hit my fists together, the bigger fist is going to win. You're gonna grind them down. I can give you unconventional warfare where the smaller unit wins, but this is a conventional warfare. And a good topic is what's gonna happen after? Where is this war leading? And it's starting to look like Ukraine might go unconventional.
First U.S. cluster munitions arriving on the front lines.
Because they've been eager in Ukraine to get hold of those cluster munitions. They've been asking for them, pushing for them.
Controversial weapon that is banned by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go
Cluster
on to explain
munitions.
if you yeah,
Mhm.
a little bit more further into this. I go on to explain
Over
that
100 countries
Oh,
around the world,
do you want me to play it? Do you want me to
yeah,
play it
just
to
this
the
clip
end?
is really important. Yeah.
All right.
including key U.S. allies.
Do you believe this might turn tables on the battlefront?
I think it's going to cause major problems. Me working in the combat engineer, a sapper, a lot of these munitions will not explode on contact. So what it is, it flies into the air, it opens, 247 individual bombs will land, not all will explode, and they can stay there for long times.
That can pose a risk to civilians that is similar to the danger posed by landmines.
My theory is, because the Ukrainians don't have a way to shoot the actual big munition, they're going to take these individual canisters, the MK118s, and use them as IEDs on drones. 247 in each canister, multiplied by thousands, it's going to cause havoc.
Yeah. So
when I watched this the first time, when I saw it, and you mentioned that, like the fact that they were gonna like pull out the ammo out of the cluster munitions, I was like, wow, man, that's genius. Because like it never occurred to me that is another possible use of all of these cluster munition,
Yeah.
actual munitions.
Yeah, and it turns out they're already doing it. There's been confirmed videos of Ukrainians opening them up and taking out the individual things and putting them on drones. Like when I got on the reporter, that was the big top, like the big topic. Like many months ago it was the tanks, then it was the cluster munitions, and I've basically been guessing these things. When he asked me about the tanks, I told him, look, when they do an offensive, they're going to fail miserably, and that's what happened. Why? Because they had no air support, no artillery support. And now with the cluster munitions, I'm telling you right now, it is safer to open these up, the shell, and shoot them individually with drones from a safe position. It's only logical that you would rather not sit in a trench and try to shoot them with your artillery. It just makes no sense. So I think we're going to start seeing more of that, more like terrorist attacks, I guess, on places where they shouldn't be using them. That was my prediction, and it's sadly coming true. Yeah.
What do you think about the Ukrainian counteroffensive?
Well, first of all, it's a miscalculation. From a military standpoint, if you have a numbers like they have, you're not supposed to throw them offensively. It's much easier to play defensive. In war, it's easier to defend, and so they could have used them as quick reaction forces. As Russians are coming onto a position, they could have used them as quick reaction to filling gaps instead of using them offensively. We don't really know. There's a lot of like people like Scott Ritter and these colonels and all these people talking about how it's a failed offensive, but they don't understand that it's not over yet. You don't know the severity of the situation. But
Yeah.
you have to talk about the miscalculation, misusing your troops. Don't talk about how they're doing good or bad. Talk about how it was the wrong move to begin with. That's the root of the problem. You don't use your defensive units offensively when you're not supposed to. You're basically running out of men for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was the original map, if you remember.
Yeah.
Of the like 2 day to Berdyansk and the Azov Sea counteroffensive dreams. And then we've got here, let's see, counter dreams, gains. This is the gains.
It's sad, man. But listen, the people need to understand that there's a difference between a conquering force and a force that occupies. So in the United States military, we have the Marines, who is a conquering force, and then you have the Army, who is a force that's going to occupy. So let's say they could have taken all that land. Let's just play the make-believe game. They take all the land that they wanted. They have to account for the men they're going to lose, but then they have to put in men to take care of that land and occupy it and hold it. So the whole plan was a giant miscalculation. Me, as a sergeant of Marines, could have told them that. You know what I'm saying? That's the failure of their commanders to actually push them and throw them to a plan that would have never worked. You might have the conquering force, but you don't even have the occupying force. You have to double and triple the amount of men who are going to hold that position while you keep moving forward, and the logistical train and the communication administration, and it's a nightmare. A lot of these battles are infantry battles, which you can't win just with infantry. You need logistics. And we know that they don't have logistics because they don't control roads, they don't control the air. It's a nightmare, man. It's a sad nightmare for everybody.
The thing that gets me is that, they're like banging their head against the wall, or being forced to. Let's put it that way. Let's not forget that. And then they're getting no results, as one does when you hit your head against the wall. And then they just keep going. And it's like, dude, you're going to break your head soon. Please stop.
I mean, the irony of all of this, like, it's ironic that they keep doing it, but it actually makes the war go a little faster. They could have used those men, like I said, defensively. If their goal is to win the war or at least end at a stalemate, you don't go offensively. So it's a paradox. If you're going to attack, you're just like, it's a paradox for them because they're trying to win, but they're only losing by attacking. And they're using what they could have used as defensive units offensively. And it's a dream for the Russian side. Could you imagine the Russians in a make-believe world, like say the Ukrainians say, hey, don't attack anymore. Let us attack now. You can play defense. Come on now. That's a gift. It's a
Yeah.
gift.
It's not only that. It's like you said in that clip. Like if it's two fists and one is bigger,
Yeah.
like there's like you know, why are you going up against it?
It's very, very clear. It's a clear example of like calculating and bad leadership. And this is in the Marine Corps, we get rid of those type of people. You make one mistake and you're no longer a leader. You're not credible. But there seems to be no accountability on their side. Yeah.
One of the things we talked about last time, which was now a long time ago, is how do you interpret the, you do updates regularly, but just for people who might not know about you, how do you feel about the Russian sanctions, which is like a running joke on this show, and the like impact, the all of that, all of the isolation of Russia has had on your life in the surroundings of Baikal?
Oddly enough, the sanctions have hurt me more as an American than any other Russian I've ever met. That is the weirdest thing. Because the Russians, I mean, they have their own banks, they have their own systems, they have their own stores, they have their own economy, which is no longer tied with the West. So how could it hurt them, right? Everybody who's struggling is from a Western country. I swear to you, I have had many talks with like Westerners, and they're just always struggling because of the sanctions, but the Russians are doing fine.
That's hilarious. That's the best joke I've heard about the sanctions so far.
I mean, yeah, the sanctions have hurt us more than they have hurt the Russians. I'm actually jealous of how unaffected they are.
And what about your trip to Mongolia? You mentioned, well, we caught up before we started recording that you're planning to go again to Mongolia. You want to tell us a bit about your trip there and how that experience was, crossing the border, getting stuff done there, and then coming back?
Yeah, so I recently went to Mongolia, and the purpose was to bring in a friend. A friend was visiting from the United States. He's now in Crimea. And I mean, Mongolia is look, here's another joke for you. You want world peace? We all have to be like Mongolia. Mongolia is the only place where I've sat down with a Russian, a Chinese man, an American, and I'm pretty sure we got, all right, let's see, a Russian, American, Chinese.
Taliban is the
Who
only
else
thing
is?
you're missing.
No, Ukrainians. Sorry, Ukrainians. So there's Ukrainians in Mongolia, Ukrainian,
Obviously.
Russian, American, and Chinese. And that is the only place where they don't fight. So if you want world peace, learn from Mongolia. You'll be walking down the street and you'll see like Ukrainians with that Ukrainian symbol on their shirt, like blue and yellow, and then you obviously see Russians with their classic Russia sweatshirts and hats and everything. The Americans are super loud, and I mean the Chinese, they're just Chinese, But Mongolia is a really cool place to visit, guys. Ulaanbaatar is a
I got
beautiful
a question,
capital.
because I'm a little ignorant. What is the main religion in Mongolia?
Well, they have Buddhism. They have nice temples
So
there.
it's Buddhist.
Most
Yeah, I
of
was
them
going to
are-
presume that,
yeah.
but I didn't want to be racist.
No, and interesting enough, you also see a bunch of swastikas for like their religion, but I don't know what it's called. But you get to see them out in the streets, really openly.
That is the actual peace symbol. It's the actual backwards, or the original swastika that the no Germans switched backwards to worship the other sun, as in the dark sun, as in, what's it called, that thing? The something Kreutz. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Well, the no Germans do. You got
I want to
something
show you.
going
Maybe it
on?
can come out of it. I think it can come out on the. Do you think if I show a photo on my phone, it can pop out on the screen?
If you hold your phone to the camera, it's likely.
Okay, and hopefully it's clear enough. 1 second, because you have to see this.
If not, you can send it along to me, and then we'll see. Oh yeah, that's clear. Yeah, that's
So
pretty
like
clear.
this is in the streets of Mongolia, and like you would never guess it unless it's like a German history museum. But yeah, like you see that openly.
That's hilarious. Um, so Mongolia, a mix of cultures where peace is possible, and
Yeah.
international banking, from what I understand.
Golly, there's a bank in every corner, brother.
Yeah. Um. So you're going back, and did you say you're going back with Real Reporter? Is that what I understood?
Yep.
Or oh, nice,
Real
nice.
Reporter and I are going back in about a week and a half. And the goal is to like document the culture and the trajectory of Mongolia because about 99% live in a little circle. The rest of the country is not populated at all. And so it is a fascinating country that just is booming right now. They're building another part of Ulaanbaatar. And we're also meeting up with a guy called Real Mongolia who's out there. So it's really funny. I'm traveling with two real
That's
channels.
hilarious. That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, so other than Mongolia, is there anything else? Because you've traveled Russia recently. You went to somewhere inner Siberia, if I'm not mistaken. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I've took the Trans-Siberian Railroad and I visited Novosibirsk. Uh, I've seen every city on there, but what my next move is, I'm going to Mongolia, then I'm flying to Moscow. So this is going to be the first time I see Moscow in October. Really excited about that, actually. It's going to be interesting because I'm so used to small towns here in Siberia, and going to Moscow is going to be like visiting the Russian Mecca.
All right. If you've, I'm sure you've got connections in Moscow and people waiting to take you around. But if you need any other suggestions or connections, let me know.
Yeah.
We'll definitely send you a link or two, some places that I recommend and some maybe tour guides for you.
I just need tortillas, bro. Mexican food.
um, from what I've seen, Moscow has everything, so I'm pretty sure you'll find some good Mexican food. Although maybe
Good.
Tim Kirby, actually I can't remember if he said there's any good Mexican food. I think he said there's two. You know Tim Kirby, yeah? I'll hook you up with Tim Kirby.
That
And
dude freaking wrote me and then just freaking said some weird things and just ghosted. So I don't know. If he wants to contact, that's cool. If not, it doesn't matter. I have one more thing.
um,
I'm going back to the United States in November. That's like breaking news. I released that like my last video, guys. I'm leaving Russia because I have to go back to renew my passport, renew my Russian visa, get a marriage license, and come back to Russia. So I'm gonna be updating everybody on how to do all of this, like getting married in Russia, because I'm going through that right now.
excellent.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people will be interested. Um, about Tim Kirby, he probably ghosted because like his messages got lost in the slew of messages because he's constantly like I've been chasing people in the comments and on the Telegram channel are constantly asking me like get this person back, get this person back, get this person back, and I'm just like, dude, everybody who's been here has been invited a million times since they've been on. It's just people got other shit going on, and Tim, like in his defense, actually, like with the American Village and whatnot, he's actually constantly doing stuff.
Yeah,
But
the thing
I'm
is,
planning to have him on too. Ever since like that Moscow drone attack, which was like what, a month and a half ago now, like like I've been calling him and messaging him, and he's like, yeah, soon.
does he live in Moscow?
He lives, I think, technically in the Moscow region outside of Moscow City, but he commutes and/or has an apartment or something like that in Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. But he's in Moscow constantly, basically, like every
What do
second
you
or
think
third day.
about what do you think about an American Village? Like, imagine it was just an American Village. What do you think about it?
I think it's excellent. I think you should have a main street, and like I've talked to him about it. I've had him on a couple of times, and I think it's an excellent idea. It has potential, and it could be like the typical American, like American bases are basically. Like I don't know if you've served in like Saudi Arabia or maybe like flown through. And like all those like bases that have like on-site living and like little American villages with like KFCs and Burger Kings. I think I think that's possible in Russia.
All right. Look, the reason why I say it is because look, I'm an American living in Russia. I have to assimilate to the Russian way. Why? I don't agree with it. Like this is why I want to talk with him. So I can maybe understand what his goal is. Because not everybody in the expat community probably agrees with him in building this American village. Because Americans are freaking notorious for ruining things. So even if you bring too much of one, I mean, bro.
It's good this is a comedy show. Keep going. That's
I'm not going on a rant right now. Listen, guys, if you think that an American village is the way to go, don't name it the American village. You already started off wrong, first of all, because like I said, we're notorious for ruining things. Too much of one flavor in America, we already know what that does. Why would you bring it to Russia? That is the problem in America, that we always freaking in these little vacuum sealed communities. And I hear he wants to have like conservative, blah, 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 yada, yada. No, you shouldn't have ideal people who should come. You should bring people who want to assimilate. You don't freaking bring people who have one mindset. That's called a cult.
You guys, my guests, are all amazing. I look forward to having Tim on as a rebuttal, and then maybe both of you on. That would be that would be interesting.
This is basically a call out. Look, you got a freaking good banger right here. If he wants to come on and talk about this, that's the way to bring us both back. This is gonna be cut the BS. Only talk about the American village, and let's get this going. Tim Kirby versus Wild Siberia, talking about why an American village is bad. Or he can change the name if I win the debate.
No, listen. American in this sense, I think alludes to the true values of America back when America used to be America. Like, long ago, before.
1770 something?
Yeah, that kind of America, 1800s America, the Wild West of America. By the way, everybody who's new here, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for dropping by. Check out some of the old videos. I have to do a little bit of self-promotion. Remind people, half of my audience is not subscribed. You're depriving people of this beautiful comedy.
Oh,
that's my new
so
tagline.
Funny, man. This is legitimately the funniest episode.
Also, now you can buy me a coffee. Thank you for everyone who's bought me a coffee. I still haven't managed to sort out how to pull it out, but we'll sort it out eventually. Got to work on my pull-out game. Haha. No, seriously speaking now. Seriously speaking now about the American Village. I don't know. I like it because it will bring some Americana and some flavor. Like if Russians want to live and experience that like kind of American flavor, it'll be like a good place to exchange culture. Like, if you've got an American school there and you've got like Russians who want to like learn American from Americans, not English, American from Americans.
I'm gonna go at it again, Steven. I'm gonna go at it again. Don't start me off. No, you're winding me up, boy. Listen, guys. Russians don't need to have that taste of Americana. Moscow, he lives in Moscow. I'm pretty sure there's American diners. You don't need a whole damn village of American freaking vacuum sealed people to freaking experience this, guys. And if you want to learn American English, everybody watches Netflix. Put on your VPN, get on your Netflix, and watch your damn Friends episode. Don't come at me with that BS. Tim Kirby, I'm calling you out right now. I'm not hating on your little American village. I just want to know more about it because you told me you were going to contact me and we were going to talk about it and you ghosted me. So here I am having to freaking talk about how American village is not a good idea.
In your opinion, so far from what you've heard and understood, but you'd like to learn more, which is always the best attitude.
So you want to know my opinion? I haven't given my opinion.
In any case, I don't know. If you want to give your opinion, go ahead. If not, we'll wait for Tim
let's go.
to go
All
on.
right, here's my opinion. Here's my legitimate opinion. I'm very proud of him for dreaming of something and following his dreams. Like, that is something that I'm doing right now in the shores of Lake Baikal. So he came to a foreign country and he's building his dream. And it's very commendable. Like, all jokes aside now, because I was trolling a little bit. Like, keep doing what you're doing, man. And hopefully you can contact us and you can get on the Working Brother and you can tell us more about it. I mean, it's only promoting your dream. And I have my channel and I can promote your dream as well. I think we should be a community. Like, the Working Brother is bringing people from all over Russia on his show and they tell their story. And I think if people connect, not just me and him, but me, you, and him, we can talk about it. People from the outside can watch and get a better idea of what's happening. And I think you're missing out by not doing that.
All right, excellent. We'll definitely try and sort this out. I don't know how it's going to work with the two guests. I haven't had that happen yet, but we'll make it work for sure. In any case, moving on from the American Village, what do you make? Because you also, on the Real Reporter, and previously with me in private, and I think maybe even in public. No, it didn't happen in public. So in private, we've discussed the coup, which I refer to as the Rostov Circus, because there was not much coup in that coup. We'll leave links to all kinds of videos. New people who are here, check out the old talks that I have. And now Prigozhin is dead. He's been accidented. What do you make of his accidentalness?
I mean, I don't even know. To be honest, I can't say if he's dead or not. It's unfortunate how the line of this has gone. Calculating, like, speaking with calculations, what we have to worry about, like the world has to worry about who's going to take control of the private military company, because it was unlike any other, right? They were backed by an entire nation with weapons and ammunition. So that is a lot of power.
Man. I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't exist. Putin said Wagner doesn't exist.
I'm telling you right now, whoever holds that power is going to have a lot on their hands, man. They have a monopoly in Africa. They have a monopoly in promoting and recruiting men who want to fight for a private military. Like, that is the apex right now in the world. And it's basically a challenge to the West and anybody else who wants to start a new one. I mean, the West tried to start a private military and it failed, right? So whoever has the power to control the Wagner, now that supposedly the guy is dead,
you're talking about Academy or Blackwater or whatever they were called before that, right?
Mozart or something. Like, they try to do something funny.
Oh, like now during this thing? Yeah, they were called Mozart. That was hilarious. That lasted like a whole week.
There you go.
Considering we're discussing Prigo, this is a meme that I didn't share last time.
This is bad, man.
We'll leave links. Check out some of the older episodes. They're hilarious. Meme invasion. Another meme.
Yeah, please let me continue. I have not seen a real person in Russia since I moved here with blue hair or purple hair.
That's because they're all in Serbia, man. They're literally all in Serbia. Like Belgrade downtown, you can't walk 10 meters without hearing Russian, and you can't walk 20 without seeing one with blue hair or green hair or purple hair or pink hair, man. And I'm not even
That's
joking or
interesting.
exaggerating. I'm not even joking or exaggerating. It is literally like that.
I believe it. We don't have them here. They went there. Makes sense.
Among other places. Like, I'm sure that Georgia is pretty much the same, but yeah, we've been invaded here by the liberal Russians.
What a master move, man. Getting rid of all the people who don't like your country in one swift move, and feels good.
Another thing I forgot to do last time, followers of the Telegram channel will know, is give this movie recommendation. I'm gonna go full screen. I'm gonna ask you to let this play out, and yeah.
Good boy. You know any jokes?
No.
Should learn some. The devil does not like jokes. Bring the box.
So that's my movie recommendation for The Exorcist. Not The Exorcist.
Yeah.
It's The Pope's Exorcist. That's what it's called. The Pope's Exorcist. Pretty good movie. The devil does not like humor, and this is a comedy show. So we are on the good side.
That's a comedy?
No, it's
here's
not a
a comedy.
comedy. Yeah, this is a comedy. I mean, legally speaking. So yeah. Anything else you'd like to cover that we have not touched upon in this
Let
talk?
me see. I mean, I just want to let people know that if you're very curious about Russia, if you want to visit Russia, I think now is a good time to come. Like, contrary to what people will say, because there's really fewer tourism, fewer people like searching to come here, so you'll get a whole beach to yourself. You get to experience cities more beautifully, less people, and right now it's just the pure soul of Russia. I've lived here for about a year and a half, and I can tell you that last year was a little bit difficult, but now like Russia's on its feet, like as far as the stores and everybody's got their businesses running really nicely. You're not going to miss out if you come now. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to wait till this is over. But inside of Russia, we're not really affected by the conflict. Okay. I just want to make that really clear. I'm an American. I'm not getting drafted. There's not like cases where people are getting dragged out of their houses. This is the reality. This is the situation on the streets in a real Russian. Like, Siberia has the most people who serve right now in the military. So I would be able to see if they're being dragged out of their houses. Just don't be scared, guys. And I always say, like, I'm not pro-Russian. I'm just pro-truth. Everything's fine.
That's a good approach. I was gonna ask. I remembered as you were talking. I remembered last time we talked. You said you didn't quite get to picking up Russian. Have you picked up any Russian since then?
Only when people talk to me, I can understand. Like, when I go fishing, they ask me, hey, how many fish have you caught? I'll say, like, dva shuka, один okun. Like, I can tell them what I've caught. I can tell them if I haven't caught anything. I mean, these are the small things. As you get assimilated into the culture, for me, it's fishing. And so everything's revolved around fishing for my vocabulary. I know a lot of fish names. I think the most important thing is just to make others comfortable, like learn at least enough to make people feel comfortable. Don't be a jackass.
And have you learned
to answer
any
your question,
curse words? Have you learned any curse words? I find, because I
Yeah.
speak a bunch of languages, and I find it's always easiest to pick up the curse words first, and then I find it's easiest to pick up the language if there's a woman to teach it to you.
I mean, I've learned some curse words, but I don't like them. I find them very rude because they use them all the time, and it takes the meaning away from them. Like, they're always saying the S, like the C word,
Yeah,
but an
yeah.
S in
Yeah. The SUKA word.
Yeah, it's CYKA.
Yeah. So, Dan.
For the people who don't know Cyrillic, it's suka.
Yeah, yeah. Oops. Dan, thank you for making the time. I wish you luck on your future journey. Everybody who stuck around to the end, thank you for sticking around to the end. Like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, check out some of the older videos. Thank you to everyone who buys me coffee and who supports me on Patreon. Let's get some music going.
Yeah, this is a banger. Bye.
Cheers, guys. See you soon.